Good day, everybody. Today in Yarn Tales and Threads, which is the title on my channel, I'm going to talk about some of the tops that I have knit, which ones I like the most, and which patterns I have repeated the most. So let's get started. So this first one is from Yarnspirations. It's a free pattern, and I've knitted up actually uh, about 4 times, but I'm just showing you this one because I varied the pattern by introducing some lace stitching in there. I just took a pattern, figured out the repeat in the pattern, which I think was about 12 stitches, and then looked at the number of stitches I had circumference wise to go around, because it is knit on the round. And I then calculated how many pattern repeats I could get in there. And it worked out well. So the next top I'm going to show you leans towards the let's make it easy style. And it's called, basically it's a boat neck sweater, and I have mentioned in this previously in a video, but I'm showing you what's inspiring me for my current project. So this top, which I've shown you before, is what they call a boat neck style, which means it goes right across as opposed to shaping like the neckline on this one, for example, is shaped. So the boat neck style goes straight across. But here's the advantage of knitting it, and that is that it's, yeah, sure, the voice is going. It's a very easy sweater to knit up, top to knit up. You just knit a front and a back panel and you can sew them together. But what I do is I will start from the bottom and I knit on the round, and when I get to the yoke part, I separate my stitches front and back. And I think I do just a little bit of decreasing shaping for the armholes, but you're creating that armhole, and you finish the front yoke and then the back yoke, and then you sew them together at the top. This one is actually put together. This was the style in the pattern, a patterns pattern, vintage one, and they said buttons. I just crocheted some threads, and I wore this quite a bit. It is a sort of a loose fitting top. It's great for summer. I wore it at a concert last year on a very warm evening, and it was great. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to sew up these pieces just to make it a little bit different. But I do wear it a lot. So it's a basic style. So you're knitting a front and a back panel. So that's what I'm doing with this. Only what I did is I'm starting it on the round. Remember this? If you had watched my previous video, you know I had this knit up. I used the hand Color Story hand painted yarn, and I picked 2 skeins of the yarn, and one was a little bit lighter and one a bit more dark than the other. So what I'm doing here is I'm alternating the light and dark skeins, so it's hard to see the difference. They just sort of blend in better that way. So I will be knitting that up to the underarm. I know I need about 12 to 14 inches for the depth between arm and hip, the length that I want. So when I reach that measurement wise, I will put half of my stitches on the front needles, or to create the front yoke. Let's make sure my mic is still on. I already did this video and all my mic died on me. Anyway, so then you knit the front yoke, and then you pick up stitches in the back and knit the back yoke, and then you just sew it together. So the neckline is like this, only this is sewn right across. And you don't have to do this ribbing, purling situation. You can just have a whatever cast off edge you want. And with this one, I started off with a knit 2, purl 2 ribbing. And it's hard to really see that, but you can see there's the knit and then the purl is in between. So knit 2, purl 2 ribbing. And for some reason, it's come out very ripply on the bottom edge. But I think that'll probably settle down when it's blocked. And if not, it looks as though we purposely designed it so that it was a bit ripply. Not sure why that is. Could have been the cast on method I used, which is an Italian cast on, and it's very stretchy. I didn't want it to be tight on the bottom edge, and it's not going to be. Don't lose your stitches there, girl. So when I get to a certain point, I will divide these stitches into half for the yoke and the back yoke. And then I'm going to do, for the yoke, I'm going to do a knit 2 purl 2 ribbing, so it creates a bit of a style in the yoke area, and it will just sort of hang off your shoulder a little bit. Oops, sorry about that. Man. Anyways, they'll just hang off the shoulder a little bit. It's a loose fitting top. It's really easy to do. You're basically creating 2 rectangle shapes and you're sewing them together at the top. So I like things that are easy. I like things that work. So here's another pattern that works for me. And that is, this is knit in the Pearl Soho Picnic Cotton. So what you do with this one is they start you off with the back panel, and then you come up and you do the over the shoulder strap area, and then you're knitting down the yoke area. So that's a knit and purl, and you will join them later. But then you pick up all your stitches and you start knitting in the round. So knit and purl gave me this garter stitch effect, which sets off the yoke a little bit. And then when you're knitting around, because you're just continuously knitting around and around, you've got the garter stitch. So it actually created sort of an effect setting off the yoke from the rest of the top. And I thought that was a bit of fun. So this pattern works really well for me. I've knitted up several times. Here's the first one I did. And what I did with this particular green one is I shaped the neck a little bit. This neck line just goes straight across. And I actually didn't like that, so I just shaped it a little bit by taking out some stitches and creating more of a scoop on the back. I find that sometimes a pattern lays across the back, and depending on the yarn you've used, it bothers me in the back of my neck. What can I tell you? But this pattern. It's done by a girl. It's called Knit Crow Addict. KNITCROADICT. It's all in low caps. She's created one word, Knit Crow Addict. And it used to be a free pattern, but I know you can buy it on Ravelry. I used the free pattern and then I bought it. So these patterns are not expensive. But this is one that works really well, and this is my point. And that is, if something works, then repeat it, do it again, and then you learn and create. What I learned is that so circumference-wise, I need about 210 stitches. So I consider myself a medium in size. A medium. Are there any people around? Oh, look, Aunt Joan is there. Medium. No, not like that. Sorry, I don't know where I'm at today. I'm a senior, I'm allowed to do these things. So here's the same pattern where you knit the back yoke. Again, I did some little bit of shaping on the back neckline. Then you turn your yoke around and you knit these over the shoulder panel, and then you get to a certain point and you pick up all your stitches and you knit in the round. Now here's the neat thing about this particular wool. I picked it up because I love the colors of it, and when you're knitting knit and purl, the yarn turns out like this. See how the design goes? But then when you're knitting in the round, it goes like this. Isn't that neat? How there's that little contrast. So this is knit and purl. So knit and then purl back. And this is when you pick up the stitches and you're knitting in the round. So it creates a different sort of yoke effect. And that's one thing you want to keep in mind when you're picking up a yarn that changes color as you're going around. So I like this. I was thinking one day, I thought, what I should do is I should frame it. So I call this my artwork top. And I just love the designs. It makes me think of like some sunsets where you've got this gold and yellow, and it's not just a straight line. It's blended in there. So now the reason I don't wear this one a lot is because it's knit with a merino yarn, DK, and it's a little bit warm. So it's a balance between having menopause heat ups and staying cool enough, but also staying warm enough. So this would be a great top to wear, tank top or tank top, yeah, tank top with some kind of cardigan. But the cardigan is going to have to blend. It's going to have to be very basic, like maybe a burgundy cardigan. I don't know. I'm not sure which colors would set it off. But honestly, wintertime, I'm able to wear this and not be too hot or too cold. It works well for me. So that is a pattern. This one, the blue, and see how it looks different. And then this color, and then this one in pearl Soho picnic cotton. Now this one I wear quite a bit because it is 100% cotton, picnic cotton. It drapes nice and holds its shape well, and it lets your body breathe in the summer. So, and then also because it's a more of a solid color, it's easier to match up a cardigan to go with it. Like in this case, I've done the bottom edge and the neckline edging, which I crocheted, with a bit of the pearl Soho in gray. So it would be great with the gray cardigan, or even a dark green cardigan, like color that I'm wearing today. So that is, and I'm going to make another one of these with. I have some blue white mix pearl Soho, and I'm going to knit it up with this pattern, because when you find something that works well, repeat it, do it again, try different colors. I wouldn't recommend switching yarns, because like this is a merino and this is a merino, and it works okay, but um, because it's a wool, I'm not wearing it as often. And where this is a cotton, I can wear it pretty much year round. So you learn things as you go along when you're knitting. I learned that 210 stitches in a DK yarn, or in this like pearl Soho yarn, which is like a DK, 210 stitches is my good circumference. It's funny, sometimes you feel like life is working against you. I have two microphones and both of them went down at certain points, so they're being charged. But my point is, picking up the idea, is that 12 to 14 inches from the bust or the underarm down is the good length for me, and that's what I know. So you keep a record of that, whatever works for you in knitting. This pattern, the Knit Crow Addict one, works well, and I think I've mentioned that there's a tutorial you can follow along and knit it. I've knitted up in a cotton and the merino yarns, and I find that wearing cotton yarns, cotton garments made out of cotton, works better than the merino, just because of where I live. We do get some really hot summers. Our warm weather is starting to come back now, which is great. We're in the 20s, and that's a very comfortable temperature. So you have to think about who you are as a person, what you like, what is easy enough to knit up, because you don't want to discourage yourself if you're a new knitter. And you have to think about the yarns that you're working with. So I work with merinos and I work with the picnic cotton, which for me right now is out of the question because of the tariffs and so forth. So I miss so many things from America. But I'm hopeful that eventually one day it will change. So think about what works for you, even whether I'm knitting with pearl Soho 100% cotton or a merino. I do know that 210 stitches is a good standard for me. Not sure if that was the number of stitches with this one, but it works. It's a nice loose fitting top. And if you want something that is more fitting, which requires a little bit more work, then you have to learn how to decrease on the sides. I have done that, not on this top. This one that I'm wearing is the ranunculus, and this is, I missed a step. I'm supposed to do some shaping around here so that it hangs nicer. Every time I move, the whole thing is up here. So it looks good, and I love knitting it. It's so much fun. But I really have to either well, I'm probably going to redo this and knit it in this tank top style. Why? Because it works for me. And if it works, do it again, because you're going to learn through repetition. So I'm going to take this apart. This was yarn I ordered. It's a Canadian company. It's called About Strings. And I knit this up, and it's a great weight. It's just that it doesn't really hang nice in around the body. And that was in part my mistake. So I'm going to pull it apart, and I'm going to make another one of these, because this is a particular style that I wear a lot. So if you know something works, repeat it, because you can learn so much. I think that's about it. Oh, I know, I'm going to show you this top. This one, I'm doing the what I call the boat neck style, which means you're knitting up basically a rectangle. So 2 panels, or you can knit it in the round and separate your stitches and knit your yoke front and then knit the back and sew it up on the shoulders. I'm knitting this up using a complete lace style. So this is going to be something, a top, a boat neck style top that I can wear over a camisole in the summer. And it's really cute because the wind goes right through all of these. So you're going to stay cool. This is a merino wool. This is, I think this is a Cascade Heritage, or it could be the Artisan yarns. At any rate, it's a DK weight, and I'm using a size 6 needle. Size 6, US 6 is probably my go-to size in knitting needles. And again, that's what I know. I know that if I use a DK, a size 6 needle, I know the circumference of stitches, 210, it works for me. And then you also have to keep in mind the stretchability. So this is not actually 210 stitches cast on. This one's more like 180, so it's just a slight decrease, but I know that this is really going to stretch when I block it, and it will stretch when I wear it. So in an upcoming video, I'm going to illustrate how to do the lace yarn. I don't know if you can hear that. That's the wind blowing on my window. Our temperatures are great. It's reminding me, nature's like, come on out, we're nice and warm. I know I'm coming, I'm working on it. So these are the 2 tops that I'm working on right now. And again, it's just a very simple style. Knit up 2 rectangles, sew them. Don't forget to create your hole openings. Separate your stitches, yoke back, sew it on the sleeve, sew it on the seam on the shoulders, and you're fine. And I am going to show you one of my, what I call a blooper, okay? But I learned a lot. So I do like this pattern. What you do is you knit this center panel, and the back is the same. You knit a center panel. Then you pick up stitches on the side and you knit out like that. So it's great. I love the look of the yarn and everything, but it's a variegated yarn, which means it's changing color as it goes along. And you can see it over here, the orange started to show up in the yarn. I didn't know it was there when I picked it up. When you look at a ball of yarn, sometimes there's another color hidden in there. So look what happened to the back. The orange showed up, and I ended up with this back orange panel, which I think it doesn't fit. Now, fortunately, it's the back, but also it's a silk blend, and it doesn't stretch the same way. Speaking of stretch, I'll show you what happened to the edge. See the edge? I mean, there is stretch there, but that's because you knit this separate panel out, so there was no continuity in the knitting. I like this pattern because I like the stitching. I like the lace idea. I like this here. So I may do it again one day in a different yarn, probably a solid color. The pattern itself, they showed it with the variegated yarn, and it worked for them, but it didn't work for me. But again, it's that similar sort of boat neck rectangle style, in that you're knitting these panels and it goes straight across pretty much at the neck. That does have some shaping. the back doesn't. It's just a panel straight across the back. And so you sew it up, and it's easy, easy, easy. And that's why I present it. Now, I say easy, but the very first time I ever did any lace work, I should show you this shawl I did. One day I will when I do a piece on all my shawls, but I just could not get the whole placement of yarn over, knit two together, knit one, yarn over, knit two together, and so forth. I kept messing it up. But eventually I did get it, and this was probably the second piece where I did any lace work, which again, to create that eyelet effect, you basically are yarn over and then knit two together. So if you do a yarn over, it means you're adding a stitch, and that means you have to decrease somewhere, so you knit two together, and then you end up with the same number of stitches all around. The first time I was doing it, I could not get these things. I don't know why. Once in a while, it's like you have some sort of a mental block, and it's just not going to work. With the ranunculus, if you've ever knit that up, again, you've got that stitch work, that lace work in the pattern. And even with this one, I was going along pretty good, but on the back, there's a mess up. I don't know where it is, but I didn't get my eyelets in the right spot. Which, if you're going to knit lace work, you really need to pay attention. So for me, this is slower going because I need to keep an eye on where I'm at, which row I'm at. Am I on a straight knit row? Am I on a eyelet row? So it requires a little bit more concentration. Whereas if you're knitting something like this, especially when you get to knitting the garment in the round, it's just a straight knit, 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 knit. My friend calls it vanilla knitting. It's just, there's no flavor to it. Not really. You just, that kind of knitting, I actually am at the point where you're just really feeling the yarn and you can knit without looking. So, okay, one last thing. Previous videos I mentioned the mini scarves, and I'm working on one, and this one I'm changing, I'm creating a striped effect. So this is Drops Baby Merino, and I'm just alternating my, you can see that two strands, alternating it to create the striped effect. So essentially, you know, it's going to be worn like this. So the stripes are going to be vertical, horizontal, vertical. And then I'm adding some lace work as well, which again is just knit one, knit two together, knit one, knit two together. Or sorry, yarn over, knit two together, yarn over, knit two together. So I'm going to knit that to about 4 inches, and then I'll bind it off. And it's the pattern where I cast on 200 stitches, and I did about 4 rows, and then I started the shaping, which was knit one, knit two together, go all the way to the end. Last 3 stitches, you knit two together, knit one, turn your work, knit one, two together, and so forth. And it creates the shaping. And then you block it. And this becomes a little bit less pointed this way because it gets stretched out a little bit more like that. So it creates more of a sort of a V. But honestly, if you're wearing the scarf, you're going to wear it and tie it up anyways, or you just hang it. I call them collar style. So that's what I'm working on. Basically, I'm knitting these 3 things right now. And it's funny, when I'm working away knitting, I'm thinking about the next thing I want to do. So the next thing I want to do is knit another one of these tank tops in the, I have some blue pearl Soho. I'm going to knit it up in that. Why? Because I wear it a lot. If you wear it a lot, that's good. It's worth repeating. And I get curious, what will this pattern be like knit up with this yarn? That's what happened here. What would it be like if I knit it up with that? Well, that's what it would be like. So, cheers everybody. I'm going to leave you now. Sorry. Happy knitting. Let me know if you work on more than one project at a time and why you do that. I think I understand the human nature and the psychology behind it, but I'd like to hear it from you because you learn so much from other people when they share their stories. So share your story with me. I'll read it and I will respond. So Cheers. Just a little PS postscript here. So how do I know? I said that I cast on 180 stitches on this, whereas usually my 210 circumference number of stitches works for me. Why did I reduce this? Well, what you can do when you're wanting to test or try on your item is you can put another set of circular needles through. So I've done that. So there's some stitches on one needle, circular needle, then the other. And then you can try it on and see if it's going to fit. Also keep in mind that it's going to stretch. Another thing is when you do that, you can take your item and measure it against something else that you've already knit to see if it's going to be the same circumference. So that's how I know it's going to fit me. And it might actually be bigger than I want it to be, but I think it's going to work out. So here I am with my Knit Crow Addict top. I don't know, actually I can name my tops. Like the psychedelic one is the artwork top, and this is just the comfy top. So cheers everybody.